Anthony Peeler. His name barely makes a ripple now, but back in 2004, that changed fast, and not in a good way. It all went down in Game 6 of the Western Semis. Just over 30 seconds left in the third quarter, and Peeler let frustration win. One elbow to the stomach, then Garnett answered. But Peeler didn't back down. He swung again, this time catching Garnett square in the jaw, ejected instantly. Then came the league's reaction. Peeler got slapped with a 2-game suspension without pay. That wiped him out of the must-win Game 7 and the next season opener. Garnett, he got fined $7,500. That's it. The contrast wasn't subtle. The message, the NBA wasn't going to tolerate retaliation, no matter the context or who started what. And yeah, Sacramento felt it. No Peeler in that final game meant the bench was thin, and Minnesota cruised through with Garnett, stacking up points, rebounds, blocks, and steals, like he was in a video game. Meanwhile, Peeler's career was basically over. His 13 seasons got drowned by that one moment. The guy went from respected defender to poster boy for playoff aggression in the blink of an elbow. The league distanced themselves fast. Peeler vanished by 2005. The punch stayed. Derek Gervin, he had the bloodline, but not the backing. As the younger brother of George, the Iceman, he entered the game with a target on his back. Unavoidable comparisons and sky-high expectations. Coaches at UTSA noticed fast. He wasn't just trying to play basketball, he was trying to survive the shadow of a legend. His coaches said he drove them nuts. Not for lack of talent, but because of his unpredictable behavior on and off the court. It didn't get much better when he went pro. He was called a street-style player with a tendency to sabotage himself. That knack for chaos, it kept him from holding down a steady NBA job. He got drafted by Philadelphia, bounced to New Jersey, dropped nearly 9 points per game, then was gone. Just like that. His skills weren't in question. He led the Israeli league in scoring twice and even snagged MVP honors. He won a championship in the CBA. The talent was never the issue. The problem was consistency, locker room problems, poor discipline, and reputation clashes followed him like a bad headline. He didn't get into legal trouble. He just couldn't hold on. With no NBA rings, no massive scandals, and a famous brother doing it all better, the league didn't exactly rush to remind fans he existed. So he disappeared. Not with a bang, but a fizzle. Isaiah Ryder, the guy had highlight-level talent and a career buried in off-court chaos. In Minnesota and Portland, he showed flashes of brilliance, but he couldn't stop racking up red flags. He was late to practices, got suspended, and still found time to get arrested for assault, marijuana, and even a cell phone scam, all in the same year. He led Atlanta in scoring, but couldn't show up on time, got fined close to $200,000, and was eventually waived after refusing a suspension. With the Lakers, it got worse. He got hit with a 5-game suspension for not following the league's drug policy. Add to that some truly wild accusations, spitting on fans and flight staff, threatening people, even wrecking property. Coaches didn't trust him, front offices couldn't manage him, and his career took a nosedive. After leaving the league, his legal rap sheet exploded. Assault, kidnapping, drug possession, evading cops, you name it. He served jail time, skipped probation, got arrested for theft, and somehow kept getting worse. Despite winning a dunk contest and averaging over 16 points per game, the narrative flipped. He wasn't a star, he was a cautionary tale. There were no second chances. The league passed, teams looked the other way, and just like that, Isaiah Ryder became someone the NBA doesn't talk about anymore. Not because he wasn't good, but because everything else drowned it out. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Darko, the number 2 pick in one of the greatest drafts ever, and somehow still a mystery to casual fans. Detroit took him right after LeBron James, before Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and D. Wade. The expectations? Ridiculous. But the reality? Way off. He walked into Detroit's facility out of shape, did one half-hearted workout, and apparently wanted to stab a coach because he was so tired. Not exactly the start you want from your lottery pick. His time in Detroit was quiet, painfully quiet. He barely played, stuck behind an all-time front court. He averaged barely more than 1 point per game during his first 3 years and got 2 starts. 2. They won the championship in 2004, but Darko was a bench ornament. He bounced around the league after that. Orlando, Memphis, New York, Minnesota, Boston, never found consistency. His best numbers, around 6 points and 4 rebounds. Mentally, he wasn't locked in. He admitted he was ego-driven, drank before practices, clashed with teammates, and didn't put in the work. There was even a bizarre meltdown at Eurobasket, where he threatened referees' families. He got fined nearly 14,000 euros for it. He's since retired, tried kickboxing, and now runs an apple orchard. But in the NBA's eyes, he's the blueprint for unrealized hype, forever buried under the legacy of that 2003 class, Kermit Washington. The name alone sends NBA historians into quiet mode. And it's not because of stat sheets. It was December 9th, 1977. A scuffle broke out near midcourt, and as Rudy T ran in to stop it, Washington turned and launched a punch that landed flush. Rudy hit the floor instantly. His skull fractured, his face shattered, and he was leaking spinal fluid. Doctors called it a miracle he even survived. The NBA didn't take it lightly. Washington got a 60-day suspension and a $10,000 fine, the longest ban ever at the time for an on-court action. But it wasn't just about punishing a punt. The league shifted. They added a third referee and rewrote the book on in-game violence. Automatic ejections and suspensions for punching started right there. Washington never shook it off. Fans, media, even his teams left him hanging. The Lakers traded him weeks later. His family faced threats. Even their doctor refused them care. He kept playing, even became an all-star in 1980, but no one cared about that. His career shrank under the weight of one horrific moment. Rudy came back, coached, and won titles. Washington faded. Despite a long, productive NBA run, his name is barely mentioned, buried beneath that single, violent act that forced the league to change how it policed itself. Bonzi Wells. The guy could hoop, 12 points a game, solid defense, and he once dropped 45 in a playoff game. But that's not what stuck. He came into the league with big expectations after Ball State, got drafted 11th, and instantly got traded to Portland. Right into the chaos of the Jailblazers era. He didn't exactly keep it clean. He cursed out Coach Maurice Cheeks during a game and lost his captain title. He threw towels, flipped off fans, and racked up fines, including one for $100,000. He even admitted he blacks out sometimes when he's mad. That's not great for team dynamics. Off the court, he got into trouble with police at a nightclub fight. On the court, he clashed with coaches in Memphis and got shuffled around. He landed in Sacramento and showed flashes again, but nobody trusted it. Then in Houston, he showed up out of shape and got benched. He skipped a team trip, citing chemistry. The irony writes itself. Eventually, teams just gave up. He bounced to China, then Puerto Rico. The NBA didn't blacklist him. They just moved on. Too many red flags. His fire turned from asset to problem. And by the time he was done, nobody really talked about what he did well. He became just another what if, buried in league memory. Enes Kanter Freedom, once a top 3 draft pick, now a name barely whispered in NBA circles. He played 11 seasons with solid production, 12 points and 8 rebounds per game. But after 2022, the league shut the door. Kanter says it's not about his game. He blames the NBA's silence when he spoke out against the Chinese government. He wore shoes with Free Tibet and Free Uyghurs, and mid-game, Celtics broadcasts were blacked out in China. He told Congress his teammate warned him that would be the end of his NBA run. He claims league and union officials pressured him. Stop the gear or get banned. Not fined, banned. He says that warning came with phone calls, not press releases. That's a serious allegation, and he didn't back down. The league denied it all. Adam Silver said he could speak freely, that Kanter's politics weren't a factor. The NBA's official line, player performance drives roster decisions. Some fans agree with that. They point to his weak defense, lack of shooting, and outdated play style. Others think it's clearly about money. Celtics got censored in China, and soon after, Kanter got cut. Media outlets, especially international ones, echoed that view. So which side's telling the full truth? That's still up for debate. But one thing's clear, Kanter's name disappeared fast, and it wasn't just because of stats. Rumeal Robinson, a championship hero turned federal inmate. He hit 2 legendary free throws to seal Michigan's national title in 1989, then got picked 10th in the draft, but the game stopped defining him long before his last minute on an NBA floor. Over 6 seasons, he bounced around Atlanta, New Jersey, Charlotte, Portland, Phoenix, and the Lakers, putting up modest numbers before fading out. Post-retirement, he lived big. He bought cars, jewelry, and blew money in strip clubs. By 1998, he was bankrupt. That's when the scheme started. He bribed a bank officer with $100,000 to approve a bogus loan for over $370,000. That money went to a condo, a Mercedes, club tabs, and furniture. He even used straw borrowers, his girlfriend, a bank officer's mother-in-law, to grab more loans and move the money around. The worst part? He convinced his adoptive mother to mortgage her home, then secretly sold it without her knowing. She lost it all. He got caught, charged with 11 federal counts, convicted in 2010, and sentenced to 78 months in prison. He never admitted guilt, and the judge cited his lack of remorse as a reason for the harsh sentence. Even after serving his time, the damage was permanent. Robinson's story isn't about missed potential. It's about betrayal, fraud, and how far someone can fall when legacy gives way to greed. The NBA left that chapter behind, and so did nearly everyone else. And it's now the offseason, and while you're waiting on free agency and trades, now's the perfect time to focus on your health. That's where Factor comes in. Factor is helping me stay on track with ready-to-eat meals that take just 2 minutes. No prep, no cleanup. I've been loving the garlic herb chicken and the chili lime pork chop. Super flavorful, super easy. Instead of wasting time cooking or grabbing fast food, I can stay focused on hoops and content. Factor delivers fresh, not frozen, meals straight to your door. And they actually taste amazing. They've got over 45 options every week, so you'll never get bored. Whether you're bulking, cutting, or just trying to eat better, you can choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, or even vegan meals. And it's not just dinners. They've got breakfasts, lunches, snacks, and desserts too. Everything you need to power through your day without wasting time. Get started at factormeals.com/modernjam50 off and use code modernjam50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code modernjam50 off at factormeals.com/modernjam50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Thank you to Factor for the sponsor. Mitchell Wiggins, the father of Andrew Wiggins, drafted 23rd overall in 1983. He had all the makings of a long-term contributor, solid numbers, athletic build, and a spot on playoff caliber rosters. But everything changed in January of 1987. While playing for the Houston Rockets, he tested positive for cocaine, along with teammate Louis Lloyd. The league's response? Brutal. Then Commissioner David Stern hit both with lifetime bans. Not season-long, lifetime. They could appeal after 2 years, but the message was clear: no tolerance. Wiggins ended up missing 2.5 seasons, right in the middle of his prime. That era was heavy on public discipline, and the league was cracking down on anything tied to substance abuse. They even scrapped the Comeback Player of the Year award that same season to avoid spotlighting drug recovery. He came back in 1989 and actually played well. His scoring peaked at 15.5 points per game, but it wasn't enough. Don Chaney praised his offensive spark, but called out his defense. The missed years, defensive struggles, and cloud of his past kept him from getting real traction again. Although he's better known as the father of Andrew Wiggins, but Mitchell's own NBA legacy got buried. The league didn't promote his comeback. They moved on, and in the NBA's polished narrative, his name faded. Remembered more for the band than the buckets. Kent Benson, the guy went first overall in the 1977 draft, came from Indiana's perfect championship team, and still ended up being remembered for getting dropped by Kareem 2 minutes into his first NBA game. No, really. His career opened with a gut check elbow. Kareem responded with a jaw-breaking punch, and boom, Benson was concussed. Kareem broke his hand, and that became Benson's defining NBA moment. He actually came back fast, missed just 1 game, but the damage wasn't just physical. Expectations were sky high after he dominated under Bouknight, won Final Four Most Outstanding Player, and anchored a flawless college season. But his pro career? 9 points and 5 boards per game across 11 seasons. Solid, but nobody drafts solid at number 1. He bounced around the league: Milwaukee, Detroit, Utah, Cleveland, and then spent his last year playing overseas. Despite the longevity, he never had a true breakout year. Only 3 seasons in double figures for scoring. No All-Star appearances, no major accolades, and no signature moments, unless you count that punch. It was that debut disaster that stuck in fans' minds. He didn't flame out, but he didn't light anything up either. The NBA quietly moved past him, and so did the highlight reels. Kent Benson became a trivia answer more than a legacy player, remembered for taking the hit, not making one. Shabazz Muhammad, once projected as a top 3 pick, he landed 14th, and that drop wasn't just about basketball. The age scandal hit right before the draft. UCLA listed him as 19 during his freshman year, but a birth certificate revealed he was actually 20. That 1-year lie wasn't small. It reshaped how scouts viewed his dominance in high school. Suddenly, he wasn't a young phenom. He was an older player, beating up on younger kids. The deception came from his father, who had already lied about other details and even pitched a publicist campaign to help blow Baz up. That didn't age well. He missed early games at UCLA due to improper benefits and never fully shook the off-court baggage. On the floor, he could score, but that's about it. His defense was near the bottom of the league, literally ranking second to last in defensive, real plus-minus during the 2015 season. He had flashes but never evolved. He didn't pass much, didn't defend well, and never quite earned trust as a team-first guy. Minnesota gave up by 2018. Milwaukee tried briefly, then he was out. He wasn't untalented, but between the scandal, the shallow skill set, and the chemistry issues, the league just stopped calling. His name faded fast, more a cautionary draft tale than a story of what could have been. Acie Law a lottery pick with college hero status, who barely left a footprint in the NBA. He was taken 11th overall in the 2007 draft, the first senior pick that year, coming off a dominant run at Texas A&M, made first-team All-American, and was expected to bring poise and leadership to the next level. Instead, he bounced through 6 teams in just 4 seasons: Atlanta, Golden State twice, Charlotte, Chicago, Memphis, never earning a real role. He played in only 188 games total, starting just 8 of them. His averages: under 4 points, under 2 assists, and under 13 minutes per game. No breakout moments, no real growth curve. His best run: 6 points per game, over 5 games. Playoffs didn't help either. 13 appearances, under 7 minutes a game, just over 2 points. Not exactly the stuff of highlight reels. He kept getting moved, never finding a system that trusted him or a coach willing to build around him. Ironically, he found real success after leaving the NBA, winning 2 EuroLeague titles overseas. But by then, the league had already let him go. Without standout NBA production or signature moments, his legacy faded fast. Law became another forgotten lottery pick, remembered more by overseas fans than anyone back home. Javaris Crittenton, drafted 19th in 2007, played just over 100 games and then vanished from the NBA. Not because of injury or decline, but because of a gun and a murder charge. It started in December 2009. He and Gilbert Arenas pulled out guns in the Wizards' locker room during a fight over a card game. The league hit both with suspensions for the rest of the season. Crittenton pled guilty to a misdemeanor gun charge and got probation. His NBA career ended right there. Then came the real unraveling. In August 2011, Crittenton was involved in a drive-by shooting in Atlanta. He wasn't aiming for the victim, Julian Jones, but he killed her anyway, a 22-year-old mother of 4. He fled, got indicted, and by 2015, he'd accepted a plea deal: voluntary manslaughter and aggravated assault. His sentence: 23 years, reduced to 10 with time served and parole. While locked up, he also got hit with drug trafficking charges. Any shot at redemption disappeared. He was released in April 2023 under probation and strict conditions, curfew, community service, the works. There was no NBA comeback, no media redemption arc. Unlike Arenas, who got another shot and stayed in the spotlight, Crittenton became a cautionary tale. Forgotten, not because of forgotten talent, but because his name became synonymous with tragedy and wasted potential. James Bouknight, drafted 11th in 2021, seen as a scoring guard with upside, and then things unraveled fast. On October 16, 2022, Charlotte police found him unconscious in a running car in Drive, holding a Glock 23. His blood alcohol level was 0.14, nearly double the legal limit. Officers reportedly used lights, horns, and even a PA system for nearly an hour before he woke up. When he did, he backed into 2 police cars, but no gun charges were filed. North Carolina allows open carry, and his concealed carry permit was still pending. So legally, the firearm wasn't the issue, just the drunk driving. Bouknight was arrested and later pled guilty to DWI. He got 12 months probation, 24 hours of community service, waivable with substance treatment, and a suspended license during probation. There were red flags before this too. Speeding citations, reckless driving, clocked at 107 miles per hour. But still, the Hornets kept it quiet. The team said they were looking into it, and the NBA didn't comment publicly. He stayed on the roster through 2023. Then in February 2024, Charlotte waived him. No statement, no link to the arrest, just a quiet exit. So the league didn't erase Bouknight. They just didn't fight to keep him. Not a star, not a scandal. Just another player whose off-court decisions sped up the fade. Adam Morrison, college legend, NBA ghost. He torched defenses at Gonzaga, averaging over 28 points a game his junior year. He won national awards, made All-American teams, and was drafted 3rd overall in 2006 by the Bobcats. Expectations? Massive. Reality? Rough. His rookie year gave a glimpse. Nearly 12 points per game, but he shot just 37% and couldn't guard anyone. Then came the knee injury in 2007, torn ACL, missed the entire season. When he returned, he didn't fit the system and never regained his pace or confidence. Charlotte cut ties, trading him to the Lakers. He got 2 championship rings, but barely played. Minutes vanished, scoring dipped below 3, and his role evaporated. He tried summer league stints and training camp invites after being waived, but nothing stuck. He played overseas for a bit, Serbia, Turkey, and then walked away from the game. Experts blame the injury, his defense, and his shaky shooting at the NBA level. Fans pointed to the grind of the 82-game season, which didn't mix well with his type 1 diabetes. He never adjusted. No all-star nods. No comeback, just a quiet fade. Despite that college dominance, Adam Morrison became the textbook case of a top pick whose game didn't translate, and whose NBA career the league quietly left in the rearview. Jalen Harris, drafted 59th in 2020 by Toronto, showed flashes of promise, averaged 7.4 points in just 13 games. Then everything stopped. On July 1st, 2021, the NBA announced he'd been dismissed and disqualified for violating the league's anti-drug program as a first-year player. That meant a mandatory 1-year ban, no appeals, no partial punishment, just out. The league didn't give details, and they didn't have to. The CBA protects that info, especially in cases involving drugs of abuse, not marijuana or performance enhancers. So Harris was gone, with no explanation beyond the standard legal boilerplate. No press tour, no apologies, just a suspension and a hard stop. While the league stayed quiet, Harris kept playing. He signed in Italy with Finoli Cremona, then later suited up in Canada with the Scarborough Shooting Star. By August 16, 2022, he was reinstated, officially cleared to return to the NBA. But the damage was done. He returned without fanfare and joined the Westchester Knicks in the G League, far from the spotlight that once surrounded his early NBA promise. The league moved on fast, and so did fans. Jalen Harris's dismissal didn't make waves. It just quietly marked another name on the list of rookies who vanished after one season. Vin Baker, drafted 8th overall in 1993, became a 4-time All-Star, Olympic gold medalist, and one of the league's top big men by the late 90s. But behind the numbers, addiction was already taking hold. By his own admission, he was an alcoholic during his prime, drinking before, during, and after games. Boston staff even suspected liver damage. Coaches noticed, teammates noticed, and eventually, the league noticed too. Despite earning nearly $100 million over 13 seasons, he lost almost everything. Alcoholism, gambling, bad investments, it all compounded. He faced foreclosure on a multi-million-dollar home and owed back taxes on several properties. By the time he left the NBA in 2006, after short stints with the Knicks, Rockets, and Clippers, he was battling depression, vomiting blood, and walking around with cognac in hand. Then came the turnaround. In 2011, he got sober. He joined Alcoholics Anonymous, leaned into his faith, and slowly rebuilt his life. One of his first jobs in recovery, working at Starbucks. Recruited by Howard Schultz, he completed management training and embraced the discipline of coffee service as a lifeline. He didn't stop there. He returned to basketball as a coach with the Bucks, opened recovery centers, and was part of Milwaukee's championship staff in 2021. Vin Baker's story went from all-star to cautionary tale, and finally, to redemption, on his own terms. Dwayne Washington Sr. His NBA career was brief, just 19 games between the Nets and Clippers, but the suspension that followed left a much larger mark. Drafted 36th overall in 1987, he entered the league with modest expectations, but by September 1988, he'd violated the NBA's substance abuse policy and was handed a 2-year suspension for cocaine use. This wasn't an isolated case. During the mid to late 80s, the NBA cracked down hard on drug violations, particularly involving cocaine. Washington's suspension fit that pattern. Long, career-altering, and issued with little public leniency. The league's policy, strengthened in 1983 May, gave harsh penalties with little margin for error. First-time offenders could be banned multiple years. Repeat offenders face permanent disqualification. Washington became eligible for reinstatement in 1990, but he never reappeared on an NBA roster. Unlike a few others who found second chances, his path ended there. No official return, no signed contracts, no comeback arc. His professional play continued overseas and in the CBA, but the NBA chapter was closed. In today's discussions, his name surfaces mostly in the context of the league's disciplinary history, not for what he did on the court, but for what kept him off of it. His story reflects the NBA's zero-tolerance era, a time when one failed test could end a player's future, no matter how brief that future had been. Chris Porter, once a national sensation with Auburn, he lit up highlight reels in 1999, made the Sports Illustrated cover, and dominated the SEC. He earned SEC Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and consensus All-American status. But when draft night came in 2000, he slid to the 55th pick. That slide foreshadowed everything that followed. In his rookie season with Golden State, he averaged just over 8 points and nearly 4 rebounds, showing athletic promise. But injuries slowed him down, and then the real collapse began. In 2001, he was arrested with cocaine, marijuana, and a handgun in Alabama. The Warriors traded him that October. Charlotte waived him soon after. His NBA career lasted just 51 games. Then came years of legal trouble and league hopping. He played everywhere: CBA, USBL, Italy, Korea, the Philippines, the D-League, New Zealand. But the baggage followed. He picked up a DUI and marijuana charge in 2006, pleaded guilty to more in 2010, and by 2021 was arrested on a sexual abuse charge involving an 18-year-old along with other drug-related offenses. There was no comeback, no redemption arc. Porter's explosive college game never carried over, and his off-court issues buried any chance of stability. His NBA legacy, not built on dunks or wins, but on missed opportunity and a long trail of charges that turned a once-hyped talent into a forgotten name: Josh Selby. The guy absolutely torched Summer League back in 2012. He averaged over 24 points a game and shot lights out, including 64% from deep. People went nuts. He shared the co-MVP title with Damian Lillard, and it looked like he was about to break out in a big way, but then the actual NBA season started, and everything just disappeared. He only played 38 games across 2 seasons with Memphis. That's it. His averages, just over 2 points and not even 1 assist per game. For all the hype, he never found a role. The speed and flash from Summer League didn't translate, and the defense not helping his case. There was zero growth in year 2, and by January of his sophomore season, he got tossed in a salary dump trade to Cleveland. Less than 2 months later, he was waived. After that, it was over for the NBA. No second chances, no training camp invites. He packed his bags and bounced around the globe, from China to Croatia to New Zealand. You name it, he probably played there. But the league had moved on. He's the textbook example of Summer League hype, fooling everybody. He had no playoff moments, no big games in primetime, just a flash and then silence. Julian Wright. He came in with first-round hype, drafted 13th overall after showing serious athleticism at Kansas. People saw him as this versatile forward who could handle the ball, move well for his size, and contribute on both ends. But by year 4, he was already out of the league. He averaged under 4 points and just over 2 rebounds across 4 seasons. Coaches mostly used him off the bench for short bursts, but even then, it was inconsistent. The defense was decent, sure, but he couldn't create his own shot, and the shooting came and went like a bad signal. Scouts liked his vision and length, but the effort wobbled. And then came the Twitter moment. He vented about not getting traded like some of his teammates. That told everyone he wasn't exactly thrilled about sitting on the bench. He got traded to Toronto, but nothing changed. Same story, different jersey. After 1 season, they waived him. Then it was the D-League, where he actually played well, averaging 15 points and 8 boards with Austin. But no team called him back up. So he packed his bags and went international. Israel, Russia, Greece, Turkey, France, Italy, Taiwan. He had a passport full of stamps, but never another NBA deal. The problem wasn't talent, it was that he never turned flashes into reliability. Too much potential, not enough results. A first-round pick who never found his lane in the league. Billy Ray Bates. He was drafted 47th in the 3rd round. Cut before the season, then clawed his way back through the minor leagues until Portland gave him a shot. And man, did he explode. He was jumping out of the gym, dropping 26.7 per game in the playoffs. Even though he came off the bench, that number still stands as the highest for a non-starter in playoff history. But despite that ridiculous showing, his NBA career only lasted 3 seasons. After leaving the league, he became a full-blown superstar in the Philippines. Averaged over 46 points a game there, earned the nickname Black Superman, won titles, and got inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame. But while he soared overseas, things back home were unraveling. In 1998, he robbed a Texaco station in New Jersey with a knife, slashing the attendant's ear for $7. Police found him passed out nearby. He was sentenced to 7 years and served nearly 5. Then he failed a drug test during parole and went right back in. When he got out, he tried, went to college, joined a halfway house, even wrote a 714-page autobiography. He coached briefly, but got fired for behavioral problems. His PBA legacy is legendary, no question, but his NBA memory got buried under the weight of that downfall. He went from playoff record holder to cautionary tale, a wild story that ended far from where it started. Ronaldo Balkman. The guy went from NBA journeyman to PBA import with star potential, but one on-court meltdown basically torched his whole image in the Philippines. During a Commissioner's Cup game in 2013, he lost it after a missed shot. He started shoving his own teammates, pushed referees, and then straight up, wrapped his hands around Arwin Santos' neck in front of the crowd, cameras, and officials. You don't just walk away from something like that. The PBA dropped a lifetime ban on him fast, along with a fine of over 250,000 pesos. The league made it clear his actions weren't just about losing his cool, they crossed the line into total disrespect, both on a professional and cultural level, and fans weren't forgiving. Over 70% wanted him gone immediately. Balkman later apologized on Twitter, said he blanked out, but the damage was done. The ban stuck for almost 5 years. In 2018, it got lifted, with Santos himself offering forgiveness. But even with that, the PBA never brought him back. He had a short run in the Southeast Asian League, but nothing stuck long term. His legacy in the Philippines isn't about his skill or NBA background. It's about that chokehold. That one moment, captured live, defined everything after. It wiped out everything else. A single flash of rage made sure his basketball story would never get the ending he wanted. Terrence Williams. He went from lottery pick to fraud ringleader. Drafted 11th overall in 2009, he bounced around the league until 2013, then reappeared in headlines for all the wrong reasons. In 2021, federal prosecutors charged him and 18 others for scamming the NBA's health plan. Williams wasn't just involved, he ran the whole thing. He recruited players, convinced doctors and dentists to submit fake medical invoices and even fake documents himself. He impersonated health plan officials to intimidate people and pocketed over $300,000 in kickbacks. In total, the scheme submitted around $5 million in false claims. Prosecutors described him as the ringleader, the guy who pulled the strings. It didn't stop there. While out on pre-trial release, he threatened a witness through text, saying things like "shut the hell up" and promising to spit in their face. That alone got him tossed into custody before the trial even started. By August 2023, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was ordered to repay $2.5 million and forfeit more than $653,000. 3 years of supervised release will follow once he's out. What started as a promising NBA career became one of the biggest post-retirement scandals the league's ever seen. Fraud, intimidation, prison. His story now sits as a giant warning for how quickly it can all fall apart. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.